Hey YouTube, I'm the Canadian Express. So, one of the things I've been wanting to talk about that has been coming up a lot lately is Fire Fists. Now Fire Fists, obviously, they got a lot of great cards in Judgment of the Light, like Chicken and Coach Soldier Wolfbark, but which Fire Fist is better? There's two kinds right now, and I want to discuss both of them and kind of talk about it. So, the 3-axis Fire Fist, it's a deck that goes around the whole level 3 ones, using Spirit to bring back your Leopards and Chickens, triggering Chicken's effect, making Horse Prince, Synchro. Meanwhile, the 4-axis Fire Fist revolves around Bears, Gorillas, just general, a lot like the Fire Fist we've seen before. But now that it has Coach Soldier Wolfbark, it has more consistency, it can make those Tiger Kings really easily. It's definitely a much better deck than it was before. So the question is, which one is better? So there's a long answer and a short answer. The short answer is trick question, neither of them. Obviously, 5-axis Fire Fist running Coyote here is the best one. But which one is second place? Let's talk about it. What does 3-axis Fire Fist bring to the table? Just dissecting the deck, we're going to go with, first, it runs Blaster and Burner. It runs it a lot better because of the fact that Burner is a rekindling target and a target for Brotherhood of Fire Fist Spirit. It can really abuse the Blaster plays. It sends more fire monsters to the graveyard quicker, so that way it can also bring back the Blaster more consistently and attack more consistently. And lastly, you want those fire monsters in the graveyard. You want Spirit to bring back your Chickens and bring back your Leopards. So discarding them with a Blaster or a Burner is a much better play. It also doesn't get hurt by Bottomless as much. Now the only, obviously you can hit the Blaster, but if they hit the Blaster off of Burner's effect, you can still trigger Blaster and search your deck for another Burner. It also gets the ability to get around it with cards like Spirit and Leopard. Obviously, yes, your Synchro Monster Horse Prince will be bottomless, but he'll still trigger and special summon one from your deck, so it's still a huge plus. And on top of that, they can bottomless Chicken, but Chicken's probably already activated his effect to search your deck for another Fire Fist monster, so he's replaced himself. So if the only things you can bottomless in the deck are floaters, which it seems like for the most part, then bottomless isn't as useful against this kind of deck. You can also abuse Tensu in this deck a lot better. Now, the 4-axis does run Tensu, it runs 1 or 2, but this deck runs 3 and really uses that extra normal summon to get your Leopard searching for the Tensu so you can summon your Spirit right away turn 1. That is a huge deal. Late game, a Tensu that's face up on the field can be a big deal. Getting 2 normal summons for any rank 3, rank 4, or Synchro, it can add up to a lot of damage in the late game. Another thing that's really important is the deck has a great turn 1 opener. The obvious decks that have great turn 1 openers before were Dino Rabbits that can make a Lagia set 4 and end. Teledad that can set up with the Stratos drawing and Goyo Guardian setting Solemn Judgments and end. This deck also, great play is Summon Leopard, Tribute Leopard to search for the Spirit, or to search for Tensu. Activate the Tensu, Summon Spirit, Spirit brings back Leopard. Synchro right away for Horse Prince. Horse Prince special summons Chicken right from the deck. Chicken searches your deck for a Spirit. Chicken's effect destroys the Tensu on your field for Tenki. Tenki searches out another Spirit or a Bear or whatever. Right there, you got huge pluses. You've added 2 cards to your hand, 3 cards on the field, and you've only used 1 card from your hand, or 2 cards from your hand to do it. Plus, all your monsters are powered up by an extra 100 for the Tenki, and you can do it all over again next turn. It's got that great play, which also leads to my next point. It can OTK a lot easier. It can get out that 4,000 or 8,000, 12,000, whatever damage you need on the field. It can get it out right away and without your opponent even knowing. With only 3 or 4 cards, you can use your entire hand, overextend. That's okay if you're going for game, overextend and then win. But it also has a grind game. It can also just slow roll you with playing Spirits every now and then. Just going Spirits, searching with your Tenkis, synchroing, bringing out Blasters and attacking late game. Like that 2800 attack Blaster can be a big deal late game, and they can bring it out pretty consistently. One card that they have access to that the 4-axis doesn't is Rekindling. Rekindling brings back, you got 3 Chickens, you got 3 Spirits, 3 Leopards, 2 to 3 Burners, however you're running. You have targets to swarm the field. Obviously you can't go for the huge synchros like Lavels can, but you can still make those like rank 3s and level 6s and just go out and make crazy plays. And the fact that the Horse Prince replaces himself, you got a lot of control with that Rekindling. I also think that the 3-axis has a lot of consistency thanks to Leopard. Leopard can search out your Tenkis if you need to make a turn 2 play, and it can search out your Tensus if you need to make your turn 1 summon. Leopard adds a lot to the table. It also contribute itself. 0 attack, so you don't have to worry about being bottomless. It is the target for Rekindling. It's a target for Spirit. It's a wonderful card that goes great with this deck that 4-Axis can't run. But what does 4-Axis bring to the table? For starters, Max C doesn't hurt it as much. The only time you'll ever plus with the Max C is if they Wolfberg and they're going to Exceed Summon into Tiger King. But even then, they're plussing by making the Tiger King, so there's no point in them stopping for the most part unless they really want you to slow down. But if they need to stop, they can. They're pretty consistent and pretty happy with just having a Wolfberg in a defense position bear on the field and letting you have your turn with only one draw from your Max C. On top of that, Veiler, for the most part, is a hard minus. What I mean by hard minus is if you Veiler a Spirit, they're like, oh no, I'm stuck with a Spirit on the field. What am I supposed to do with this? If you Veiler a Bear, they're like, oh no, I lost the Tenki that searched out the Bear. Who cares? Or, better yet, you're Veilering them so when they attack you directly, they don't get to search. That there is a -1. It's like Veilering a Stratos. You know, it's a good play. There's nothing wrong with it. Or Veilering a Torguide. You're minusing yourself either way. It's either you losing a card or them gaining a card. Where with 3-Axis, Veilering their Chicken, Veilering their Horse Prince, Veilering their anything. Those are good plays that are more important. So they can get around Veiler a little bit better. Also, 4-Axis, they have stronger monsters. The strongest monster in the main deck, aside from Blaster for 3-Axis, would be Chicken. You know, unless they usually run 1 or 2 bears, so they got the access to the bear there. But aside from that, you know, you don't get a lot of beef. It's on the extra deck. So if anything's stopping you from special summoning like Vanity's Emptiness, you can't really play it out. But in 4-Axis, they've got their bears, they got their Wolfbards. Sometimes they run a dragon. Sometimes they run a gorilla. Sometimes they run the trap cards. You know, they have the ability where if they're locked out of their special summons for whatever reason, they can't go into their deck. That's fine. They can still hit, and they hit hard. They also have more bears in the deck. That's a big deal. They run the 3 bears. They can abuse 3 bears. Bears is the card that makes the deck good. Brother of the Fire Fist Bear makes Fire Fist talk about. It was a $60 Ultra for the longest time. Even now that's getting reprinted, it's still a $20 to $24 Ultra Rare. Luckily, everyone's going to have access to it. But the fact that you have 3 bears in the deck, you don't run out of them, that's good. And even if you do run out of them, 4-Axis can run Cardinal Commander. Now, Cardinal Commander makes your long deck, or your grind game, go even longer and even better, because you can add back the Tenkis, you can add back your bears, you have access to these cards again. Meanwhile, you know, 3-Axis can't really make him, so I don't imagine they'd run him. Maybe they have a couple bears and they can every off chance they get, but Cardinal Commander just does a lot for the deck. So, you know, a rank 4 Fire Fist deck, 4-Axis, can run Cardinal Commander. When your opponent's side decking, they can't really side deck Dimensional Fissure and Macrocosmos the same way they can against 3-Axis. 3-Axis needs their graveyard. They need to abuse the graveyard and keep special summoning. 4-Axis doesn't need it. They use it, they take advantage of it, but they don't need it. Lastly, the deck can run Deck Devastation Virus. And unlike 3-Axis, Fire Fist is not destroyed by Deck Devastation Virus. I think Deck Devastation Virus is going to be good, really, really, really good next format, if the ban list works out the way that everyone thinks it is, by shutting down Spellbook, shutting down E-Drags, and kind of tampering with Mermails and Fire Fist. It hits a lot of cards, and the fact that 4-Axis can make Black Ships of Corn, can make King of the Feral Imps, whatever they need, just a level 4 monster that's dark with 2,000 or more attack, where 3-Axis Fire Fist can't just yet, because Sirius the Blue Star Dog isn't out yet. They can deck dev, and like I said, they don't get hurt by deck dev. You deck dev a 4-Axis Fire Fist deck, you might hit the one chicken that they tech in for, you know, dragon plays, but for the most part, you're just going to hit Veilers and Max Cs. But 3-Axis, you can hit the Bernards, you can hit the Spirits, you can hit the Leopards. They don't have a way to get back to the Spirits, so once they lose all 3 Spirits, they've lost a lot of steam. That's why, you know, talking about, there's just so many points. I really think the 4-Axis Fire Fist is a much better deck than 3-Axis. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with 3-Axis. I'm excited. I'm going to make 3-Axis. I'm going to be trading for chickens like crazy, and I'm going to make the deck, and I'm going to run it. I may even try a hybrid where I try to mix the best of them both together and see if I can get some good consistency out of it. Because you got your Tenkis searching for bears, bears searching for Tenkis, and then chickens searching for bears, which search for Tenkis, and spirits and horse prince that search for chicken, and then you got your spirits and your leopard search for all of it. You know, the entire deck is accessible really easily. Almost every opening hand can get that search to start the deck rolling, and once it rolls, you can just pick and choose what you want from the deck. Think of it like Gladiator Beasts in that sense. For now, though, I gotta say, you know, 4-Axis Fire Fist, there's not as many counters. There's the obvious. What did people cite before when 4-Axis was big? Overworked? Fairy Wind, you know, cards that destroy the spells and traps, and cards that punish the monsters for being stronger. But 3-Axis, you got Veilers, Max Cs, you got Deck Devastation Viruses. Breakthrough Skills really hurt the deck. You got a lot of ways. Vanity's Emptiness. a lot of ways to shut down the deck. That's what I'm worried about, the consistency. I think 3-Axis Fire Fist, the first round, 2 rounds of the YCS, they're going to wreck. They're going to destroy and demolish everything in their way. But then, consistency issues are going to add up. It's the same reason Dark Worlds took so long to win a YCS, took so long to topple YCS. Why? It's because you can't open the nuts every single time. But 4-Axis Fire Fist doesn't need to open the nuts. They need to open one way to get to a bear, and they're golden. Then they get their Tiger Kings, and their Tiger Kings help out. And then their Wolfbergs come up. And then, they just keep going on. And if you wind up getting into the late grind game and you're top decking, they can make a Cardinal Commander and wipe everything and get back their Tinkies, get back their Bears, and start all over while you're down to nothing. So, definitely think that 4-Axis is the better deck. However, prove me wrong. Maybe 3-Axis will win. What do you guys think? Comment in the section below. Tell me, do you think 3-Axis, 4-Axis, 5-Axis? Which one's better? What do you think? Do you think I'm right? Do you think my points are valid? Don't forget to like this video and comment and subscribe. Subscribing to my channel is wonderful. I like that. Otherwise, I hope I let you think. This is our episode of Awkward Pauses, the Canadian Express, signing out.